Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Virginia Department of Corrections, Red Onion State Prison. To accept this call, press 0.
This is Randall Via. I'm currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder in Red Onion State Prison in the state of Virginia in the USA. This is my podcast, Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoy listening to me today. This is Randall Via, currently serving 1,214 years for capital murder and armed robbery. Currently being housed at King Mountain Correctional Center in Oakwood, Virginia, in the USA. Welcome to my podcast, Red Onion Randy. I hope you enjoyed listening to me today. If you have any questions or comments or want to leave a message or whatever, I've got a voicemail line. That number is 1-888 524-1932. For anyone outside the continental U.S., just put a plus in front of the 1, and you're good to go. You can also visit my website, which is new and improved and got different features and whatnot, at www.redonionrandy.com. We also have some merch up there. So far, it's just a hoodie and a T-shirt with my logo and everything. You can find that link on my website. I hope you support me. You can also find me on X at Red Onion Randy. I hope you do. Let's get started with the podcast. As everyone knows by now, President Donald Trump has won the election. He's going to be back in Oval Office starting, I believe, January 15th of 2025. And it was a pretty big topic of discussion here in prison. You know, a few fist fights over it. You know, a lot of freaking arguments. But, you know, I mean, that's to be expected, you know, in an environment like this. You know, you got... You know, it's freaking crazy. You know, y'all think y'all are divided politically on the outside, man. It's probably way, way worse here in prison. And like I said back on the 2016 presidential election when Trump ran against Hillary Clinton, voting for Hillary Clinton is like getting shot in the left ass cheek. Voting for Trump is like getting shot in the right ass cheek. Doesn't matter who you vote for, you're getting shot in the ass. Well, it's pretty much the same thing. You know, at the end of the day, I've come to the conclusion that man cannot rule mankind. Because at the end of the day, we all push our own agendas. As you're about to see, I'm about to push my own agenda. So I had a conversation and with a friend of mine on the street, Giovanna. And we was talking about Trump. We was talking about, you know, what could potentially happen and so on and so forth. Now, I kind of imagined a little bit of me having a conversation with Donald Trump, you know, and what I would like to say to him. So I figured I would share that with y'all because, quite frankly, to me, politically, it makes sense. Now, I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. I think we all know that. I've spent 33 years of my 45 on this earth in prisons. But I'm going to do the best I can to not bore you and maybe make some sense. So, I would love to sit there and just run this by Trump. We have all of these major American companies, Nike and so on and so forth, that have all of these factories over in China and Asia. And they do it so they don't have to pay Americans minimum wage. which is give or take between $12 to $15 an hour now. On top of that, these companies have to pay insurance and so on and so forth. Paid vacation leave and what have you. And they don't want to do that because it's just cheaper to build a crappy warehouse and manufacturing facility in a third world country, pay these people, 20, 30 cents a day, and have them do all the work, and, charge us $200-300 for a pair of shoes. That's only costing them maybe $1 to manufacture. Maybe it's more, maybe it's less. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to look into that. My access to the internet is limited in here. But it ain't right. It ain't right. So that's why I would tell Trump this. If I could ask him one thing as an American, granted, I would love to see some real, genuine prison rehabilitation and reform. But I've already done an episode on how I would run prison, so I don't need to revisit that. Y'all can just, scroll through and find it for yourselves and listen to it. I want to focus on the economy. I want to focus on a few other things with Trump if I ever got the opportunity to do so, which I know is not going to happen. You give these companies 1 year. You take a bill in front of Congress, you pass it, run it through the Senate, you pass it, he signs off on it, runs it through the Supreme Court, ratifies it, blah, blah, blah. Now, these companies have 1 year to relocate all of their factories and warehouses and everything to Central America. I surprised you a little bit, didn't I? You thought I was going to say bring them back to America. No. That's not going to work. The companies, they wouldn't do it. They would just simply move their holdings offshore and just stop selling to America. They would just sell to the rest of the world. Let's face it, they genuinely don't need us to keep their companies making billions every year. So I would send it to Central America. And now this has the added benefits. Now, one thing I would do is this. If the companies refuse, then you are going to put a 100% tariff on every single item these companies bring into America. You're going to make them pay. You're going to just tax the living hell out of them, because that's going to force them to do what you want them to do. Now, this is the beautiful thing about my plan. Immigration. Immigration is a huge, huge topic. I mean, it is to the point like it damn near kind of almost led to a civil war in this country between the liberals and the conservatives. So you got the liberals, they want to let all of them in. And look, all right, it's a kind-hearted gesture. Yeah, you want to bring people into the country who want to work and who are willing to work. And let's face it, the overwhelming majority of them are good people, and they want to work. You get the riffraff in, of course. You get the gang members, you get the criminals, you get some of the terrorists trying to slip through and whatnot. And some get caught, some don't. But most of them are just people. They just want a better life, and who can fault them for that? Like, I know what it's like to go hungry. I know what it's like to struggle. So I don't fault any of them for wanting to come here. I do kind of fault you, however, for sneaking across the border and taking jobs from Americans. At the end of the day, if these farmers, they need workers for produce and everything, well, contact your nearest prison system. You got a whole bunch of people who can work. You just put trackers on them. You whatever. You get guards out there. I mean, there's ways of doing this to where it doesn't interrupt the economy. It doesn't cause a shortage in foodstuffs and so on and so forth, and protect the borders at the same time. Now, I understand where the Republicans are coming from. But at the end of the day, Republicans, man, stop being a dick. Like, remember, your family were immigrants in this country at one point in time. Because as history has shown us, the white man came over here and took this nation, this land, and all that it is from the Indians, or the Native Americans, if you will. Be a little bit more respectful to people who want to make a better life for themselves. I'm just saying. But that's the beauty of my plan. If you take all of these manufacturing plants and warehouses and all these jobs and you put them in these Central American countries, guess what? There's going to be good paying jobs. And this is the thing. You cannot have these companies do the same thing that they're doing in China, only paying these people, 20 cents a day. No, you need to pay them at least a minimum of $6 or $7 an hour, because of the current rate of exchange for these countries to American dollars. Like, these people are going to be very wealthy. They're going to be able to buy homes. They're going to be able to buy vehicles and clothes and food. They're going to be able to do all of these things because they're making not just a decent wage, but for Central America, I mean, these are basically going to be your new rock stars of these nations. Because they're going to be living good. It's going to be an affluent area, which will stop the overwhelming majority of them from wanting to come to America to try to make a better life. They'll stay where they're at. They leave these countries because, well, hell, look at their countries, for crying out loud. I wouldn't want to stay in their country. Hell, the people who run those countries don't want to stay in those countries. That's why they got so many offshore accounts and houses and whatnot in other places. So if something goes sideways, they can get the hell up out of there. The good thing about this plan is this. It pours money into these families' lives. They stay there, which means the government can then tax, which means they'll have money to actually improve their health care, improve their schools, improve their infrastructure. They will have money to give loans out so, other citizens can start their own businesses and they can do all of these different things. Which clears up our immigration problem, which basically effectively seals our borders because they have everything they need where they're at. They don't need to risk life and limb for them and their families to come here. It boosts the economy. It makes friends with these other nations. And it does one other important thing that will safeguard our nation more than just about anything else will, other than repenting and turning to God as a nation. By us sending our companies to build these factories and jobs and everything in your country, you are going to give our military, you are going to give our Navy SEALs, our Green Berets, our Force Recon, and so on and so forth. You are going to give them complete access to your country to go after these drug cartels. Everybody in this situation wins. It removes a lot of the illegal immigration into this nation, which is going to improve our economy because then it leaves the jobs open for our own people. It saves lives for the people trying to cross the desert and so on and so forth. It gets these good people out of the hands of the cartels and the mules and everything running people across. I mean, how many times have we seen a story on the news of a tractor-trailer container or ship container or something with, a couple hundred bodies stuffed in there dead because they suffocated for no air trying to make it to this country? How many times have we seen that on the news? How many times have we been shocked and disgusted by that as a human being? This fixes that. The only people that lose in this scenario are the drug cartels and China. China loses. But who really cares? Because at the end of the day, from everything I've seen in the news, China's trying to destroy us anyway. China's the main culprit in fentanyl coming to Mexico and trickling its way up across the border into America. I've seen multiple news reports on that. And I don't even watch the news anymore. Like, it's gotten so depressing. So these are some of the things I would love to talk to Trump about. There are ways of doing things to where you hit multiple targets with one shot. You force these companies out of a country that's trying to destroy us, that's trying to take over and be the #1 world power in the world. You clearing up our drug problems. Because now you actually have permission from these governments to genuinely go after the drug cartels with no gloves on, no political interference. And you can't sit there and tell me, Trump, that you can't make this happen, because I know damn well you can. On top of that, you've got full control of Congress, you've got full control of the Senate, and you've got full control of the U.S. Supreme Court, because the Republicans hold the majority in every single level of government. So you actually have the ability to tell your generals, look, send some SEALs over there, start cleaning house, start making it safer for our nation, wipe out these drug cartels. Y'all know who is who. Pair them together with the FBI and the DEA, and actually go after them with everything you got. Our nation is going to be so much safer. But on top of that, their nations are going to be so much safer. So they won't have to worry about their kids growing up to be gang members, being forced into the gang. They don't have to worry about their daughters being violated, because it's going to be a safer community. They're going to be able to improve their education. They're going to be able to improve their health care. They're going to be able to improve the infrastructure, public transportation, the roads. So much will grow and improve in these countries by forcing our companies to leave China and simply relocate. But this is the thing. To incentivize these companies, if they actually do build their manufacturing jobs in Central America, you give these companies 5 years tax-free. And that's to help them cover the cost of relocating and rebuilding everything in these other countries. I would love to have this conversation with him. I would love somehow for someone who may listen to this to try to send it to him or get it to him, because in my opinion, this is a brilliant idea. I'm sure there's some things that could need to be worked on. There's there's people out there that know stuff about this way more than I do. But at the end of the day, I'm a guy who's been in prison since he was 11 years old. I'm doing the best I can to try to make a better world. Even if it is simply putting the idea in someone else's head, they take it and make it better. They improve it, and then they run it up the chain or whoever and actually try to implement some things and get some things going on.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Because the way this world is going, if we don't come together, if we don't start focusing on the solutions instead of bitching and crying and arguing over who is right, Democrats, Republicans, neither one of you is right. You're not. And I got no problem standing on it. Make the world a better place. I appreciate you folks listening to me. Remember, if you want to leave some feedback on the show or, ask a question or whatnot, again, that number inside the continental U.S. is 1-888-524-1932. Anyone outside the U.S., just put a plus in front of the 1. Works just the same. You can also visit me my website at redonionrandy.com. or find me on X at Red Onion Randy. You don't have to, but if you want to, wherever you listen to my podcast, go on and give me some stars, or whatever is appropriate for that platform. I'll take whatever you can give me and be damn grateful for it. But, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to grow the podcast. I'm trying to reach more people. I'm trying to get my voice out there to help people. The crazy thing is I actually am helping people. And in the process, I'm helping myself. So do what you can. And don't forget, I got sweatshirts, T-shirts, and maybe some other merch coming soon. You can find the link on the website, redonionrandy.com. And y'all take care and stay safe out there. Hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you for using GTL.